Hey everybody, good to see y'all. How you guys doing? It is I, Steve Jones, the executive producer of Float. If I have not had the chance to meet you in person, hello there, Matt Russell. How are you? Good to see you, sir. Um, I am. I'm obviously back in the flesh. I'm very happy. Thank you, Gabby. Hello, Gabby Rivera. Good to see you. I am very glad to be back. Um, I had a really, really enjoyable vacation. Debbie Levy, good to see you. Thank you very much. I had a great vacation, but you know that it's one of those things where I was really excited to get back. So even though don't give it, hey Teresa, um, I am recording. Thank you, Debbie. Um, I It's one of those things where I was really excited about going. I was really excited to be there. I really enjoyed myself. But when it was winding down, instead of finding myself in a situation where it's like, oh God, I have to go home, I was actually like, I'm really excited to go home, which I'll explain in a little bit. Hello, Susan Barrero. Um, yeah, I had a great time, very relaxed, very relaxing. Um, did not answer the phone once during the duration I was gone. Responded to very few emails. So yes. Oh, Dina, hello there. Yes, yes. Philomena is enjoying a relatively new and stylish outfit, courtesy of the one and only Alexa Rivera. So, Stephanie McMillan, do I need a vacation from my vacation? No, actually, I don't. I'm pretty good. I feel pretty good. I will answer Matt Russell's question in just a moment, as far as where I went. But before I get going too far along, I do want to say I want to give a huge shout out to Teresa Harding and to Lisa McIntyre, who filled in for me and helped out, kind of keep an eye on things with notifications and with posts and all that kind of stuff while I was gone. Um, and the fact that they took over, the morning duties in the forum for me. Again, I guarantee you, I know they must have approved some people for the group. They must have approved some posts or not, whatever. Thank you, ladies, very much for doing that for me. It was a great benefit for me to know that I didn't have to worry about any of that stuff while I was gone. So it means a lot to know that you guys were there. So thank you. Um, the Before we go any further, though, there's a couple things that have to be announced right off the bat. First of all, today we've already posted this in the group. I've discussed it at nauseum. I'm just about done with it. Today is the absolute last day. Hello, Angela, good to see you. If you attended Float 2020, today you have about 6 hours left to get registered at the $350 price point. We have been offering this price point in one facet or another since May of last year. It's not going to be extended anymore. Too many people have already like, can you keep it? Can you extend? I need another couple days. No, guys, we have been offering this price point. We did the 75 for $75 plan in May and in June. We launched then. We gave you a chance to get the 350 at a payment plan option. We gave you that last year. All year long, I've been giving people the option. Look, I can't give you the payment plan, but what I can do is you can do it in 72 hours. I'll give you the 350 now. I've been doing that between June and December. Okay. This is it. Today is the lot. You have 6 hours left. So if you attended Float 2020 and you want to sign up again at 350, you must do it in the next 6 hours. Okay. Hey, Mr. Cooper, good to see you. The 3, not 1, not 2, 3 emails were sent to you on this topic if you were eligible. 3 of them. All right. 3 emails were sent to you. 1 was sent to you again yesterday. 1 was sent to you on, yesterday's was on my vacation. Another one was on my vacation on Wednesday of last week. And the one before that was a Wednesday before that. So you've had 3 emails sent to your attention with all the information in there. Okay. So that's what you got to do. You have 6 hours to get signed up, or else the 350 price point is gone and you are looking at a minimum price of $499. It will not, this will not be extended beyond this. At midnight tonight, I'm setting an alarm for myself. I'm shutting that link down and it's gone. So you absolutely have to do it by midnight, my time. Okay. So you have 6 hours left to go. All right. Secondly, today is also the last day to get involved in the Anagram Valentine's Day contest. Okay. And I'm telling you, we've only had, I think, 7 or 8 entries turned in. So if you've got something in mind that you want to do, get it to me. Okay. 3 major stipulations. Number 1, it's got to be turned in by midnight. Okay. My time. Number 2, it's got to involve only anagram foil balloons. Yes, you can have latex in it too, but with regard to foils, it can only be anagram. Okay. And number 3, it's got to be a delivery piece themed for Valentine's Day. Okay. It cannot be some walk-through arch or whatever, blah, blah, blah. That's not a delivery piece. It's got to be considered a delivery piece. I just got an entry a little bit ago. Is it a delivery piece? I don't think so, but I guess that's up to interpretation in this case. It's something that technically somebody could walk in with, which would make it a delivery piece. So there you go. So that is tonight. The rules are at floatconvention.com/contest-page. If you go to the floatconvention.com website, if you go to the more category on the menu, scroll down, you'll see contest page. Click there. All the information you need is there. Get it to me in the next 6 hours and you're eligible. Okay. All right. And then what's going to happen with that is that people are actually going to vote on, like all of you are going to vote on them. Like people in general are going to vote on the winners. So there's that. Okay. So today is a very important day for 2 different things. Number 1, last day for the returning float discount of $350. And number 2, it is the last chance for you to enter into the anagram design contest for Valentine's Day. So make sure you get that done. All right. I also want to throw out a Dante update to everybody. Dante's class was last month, or actually it was earlier this month, excuse me. It's not technically February yet. You'll be getting another email from me tomorrow morning with your reminder that you have just under 2 weeks left for the replay option on Dante. Remember, we extended the replays to 4 weeks now, as opposed to 2 weeks. So you're now just over halfway through your free replay option. Take advantage of it. Get in there, watch the video. So many people, I know for a fact, so many people basically looked at this whole thing and just went, oh, I got a month, I'll just wait. And then what's going to happen is 5 minutes before the deadline's up, people are going to be asking for extensions. Guys, I could give you a year to watch this video and somebody's going to call me 5 minutes before midnight and ask for an extension. We're done. So make sure you take advantage of it. Watch it then. Yes, you will still get the option to purchase it afterwards for $5 if you enrolled in the class. Okay. But you only have a week for that. So keep that in mind. All right. So, and also don't forget that Melissa Vinson is teaching our February class on graduation decor stuff. Signups are going on now. That's at the Orange store on the website, floatconvention.com/orange-store. Make sure you sign up for that. If you are pre-registered for Float 2022, you are eligible for a $10 discount off the class. You just have to make sure that you let me know that you need the code, and I will gladly give it to you. But you will need that. Hello, Stephanie Marquardt. How are you? But you'll have to have that information to get the discount. So there you go. All right. So basically, yeah, I took a vacation. It was the first actual. Okay, so when Rio and I split, when Doris and I divorced, or actually when we first separated, I took like a 3-day, 4-day kind of getaway thing, but I wouldn't call that a vacation. I would call that much more of just like a quick getaway. Hello, Tiasha, and hello there, Flavia. Good to see you. This was the first actual, and actually it's funny that Flavia came on, because Flavia asked me at one point, when's the last vacation you had that didn't involve family? Like doing a family function, going on vacation. And I could not remember. everything's been affiliated. Like, like when I went back to visit my niece for her graduation, or when I visited my parents for their 50th, yeah, it was still, it wasn't a true complete getaway vacation. Um, so yeah, this was my first actual vacation in, I can't tell you, probably close to 10 years. Again, I did do a getaway. Like I said, I did like a 3 or 4 day thing a couple years ago when Rio and I first split up, but that was really it. And ironically enough, well, it's funny because so many people were so like, oh, where's he going? What's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing? Um, and some of the hello, Ronnie. Um, some of the um, guesses were quite interesting. Um, Teresa Harding will appreciate this. I was asked if I went for plastic surgery. I told you this is a thing. Um, no, I did not go in for plastic surgery. The Somebody said, "Well, you lost all that weight, so I figured maybe you were getting a tummy tuck or something." I'm like, I didn't lose that much weight. Trust me. That did not occur. So no, it wasn't plastic surgery. Somebody jokingly asked if I went on a gay cruise. No, I did not go on a gay cruise. Because a lot of it, you can't bring cameras, you can't bring that kind of, you're not, at least what I've heard. No, I did not go on one of those cruises. No, I was not having a romantic getaway with a balloon person that we don't want anybody to know about. That was my favorite. I had about several several people apparently suspected that the now single Esteban was having a secret rendezvous with another balloon person. Several names were thrown about. Glad to know that at least I guess people are rooting for me, sort of, I guess. But no, that was not the case either. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't have minded some kind of romantic interlude on this vacation, but that did not occur. No, this was strictly, no, I went to Walt Disney World in Florida. I basically decided that I love amusement parks in general. So, and to be honest, well, I'll get to this in a second. To me, that was one of the safest places to be in everything going on. And I'll expand on that in a minute. But I am a huge amusement park fan. I've always been a big fan of amusement parks, and I am not the kind of person that can go to the beach and lay there. I can't do it. If I'm drop dead exhausted, I can do it. You know, the longest I've ever, I mean, like when I went to Gemar Days in Miami a couple years ago, I spent a day at the beach, and I spent a day on a beach chair, but that's because I fell asleep at one point for 2 hours. Um, and fried like the devil. Oh my God, I burned so bad. But That's because I was literally exhausted. I get too bored. I can't lay there on a chair unless I am just so physically exhausted. Yes, Crystal Rutan hit it right on the head. I went to go see Star Wars and other stuff. Um, well, remember, my spirit animal is the Millennium Falcon. So yeah, the yeah. So I went. I don't like to go necessarily on vacation destinations where there aren't things to do. Now the problem that I run into though, as Miss Stephanie alluded to earlier, is sometimes you max yourself out with so much activity that you wipe yourself out having fun. So this time I specifically went with the theory in mind that if I started getting tired, or if I started just there was no sense in just trudging on for the sake of, oh, the park's still open for another 2 hours. No, if I'm done, I'm done, and I'll just go back and I'll relax. And so that's what I did. And I got to say, it was a great compromise. One of the beautiful things about going to amusement parks, or your memories, is that, as you know, like any woman that'll tell you who's had, given birth to a child, will tell you that they tend to forget about the excruciating pain and everything else, so they remember the blissful moment where they first meet that beautiful baby. Amusement parks for me are great because I have all these wonderful memories of all these incredible rides and blah blah blah. But I forget how badly my feet hurt after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I forget I forget how tired you get doing stuff. I forget about the drudgery of waiting in lines and that kind of thing. Um, Gabby, you should go to Cancun. A lot of places to explore and relax. That's true, Gabby. But I have to admit, I'm a little concerned about going out of the country, just in general, because that's just I'm a stupid American. Um, but the yeah. So anyway, like I said, I really enjoyed myself at the park. I really had a good time. Um, and the truth of the matter is, I am frequently absolutely inspired when I go to Disney. Um, the first of all, I am blown away by the amount. It's Stephanie Markor. It's the same memories you have of taking your kids. You forget about the pain and just yep, that's right, that's it. Um, the sheer magnitude of creativity at that location, at that place in the world. That if you again, if you look at the number of characters alone that Disney now owns, and from the very beginning with Oswald, right, all the way to now with Marvel and the MCU and Pixar and all of the movies in between and all of that amazing stuff. The creative property that they own is just phenomenal and it's overwhelming. But now, as a business owner, I mean, as a creative person myself, I love submerging myself in that kind of an environment where there's just creativity just exploding everywhere. At the same time, as a business owner, I am even more inspired now and blown away by the logistics, by the thought processes that are involved with everything at Disney, with the customer service levels, with with their branding, with their merchandising. Oh my God, I made a joke at one point. I wonder how many SKUs Disney owns just for the parks alone. It's just unfathomable. The the simple act of the ears. At any given moment, you can be in that park, and there's got to be 100 different styles of ears because they're trying to find that one design that gets to you that you want to buy. It's just, it's fantastic. I mean, again, from a business perspective, it's absolutely brilliant, and I love it, and I love every aspect of it. And now, like I said, I go, and I just thoroughly enjoy it. I will say I'm a little burnt out now because I did 4 days at Disney World, and then I did a day at Universal, and it was night and day. I'll get to that in a minute. But what was really, yeah, Hannah, you're right. They are. And in fact, though, I have to say, and they've come up with a bunch of balloon related merchandise. But yeah, one of the things I'm actually going to reach out to Disney is one of the graphics they had in one of the stores is a whole bunch of the Mickey balloons floating loose in the air. It's a drawing. It's not the actual balloons. It's a drawing of Mickey balloons floating away. And so yeah, I'm like, could you might want to take that down now. So I know it's supposed to be fun and whimsical and all that other stuff, but there you go. Um, so I appreciate it on so many different levels now. But again, I definitely burned out this time because I rode so many rides and so much. So I mean, I got to do Rise of the Resistance twice, which was nice, because it's like buying concert tickets. Like if you don't get logged in at the exact right second on your app, you're not on. I mean, you're not on the ride. So I got really fortunate in that capacity that the 2 days I was eligible, I got on, which was good. Um, but but what was really enlightening for me, and this is where this all circles back to float. What was really enlightening to me, and it was something that I hadn't even considered until I was there. The whole reason that I selected going to Disney, aside from the fact that I really enjoy the parks and everything else, is that I realized that nobody was better prepared to handle COVID than Disney because they already have so many systems in place as far as cleanliness goes, as far as food preparation goes. I mean, if you've ever gone there as gluten free, it's a completely unique experience to most amusement parks. It's amazing what they do. They actually have separate kitchens that food is cooked in. And like, when you place something a gluten-free order, like it comes out on this green tray. That's because it's been prepared by a manager, by the way. An actual manager does it, and they have to go to a special kitchen and cook it there and then bring it back to you, which is why unfortunately it takes so long. But it's that whole quality control aspect of it. But what occurred to me when I was there was that I was also now doing research for Float, because I was now able to see how somebody like Disney was handling tens of thousands. Okay, I froze up. How somebody like Disney is handling tens of thousands of people every day with a global pandemic going on. And so it really puts things into perspective. Now, keep in mind, Walt Disney World is a little bit different, because Walt Disney World it's a mostly outdoor venue, right? So, it's not Chicago in January, let's be honest. But again, that was another reason why I felt really good about going, because I knew that the vast majority of my time would be spent outside, which, as we all know, is better as far as fresh air and the whole bit goes. Um, the but and the truth matter is, they really didn't have a lot of things that were different than what you would expect. It's, I mean, but what they had was absolute structure and absolute consistency, and that's the key. Every ride, every single ride had the 6 foot markings, literally for hundreds of people. So if for a wait and whatever. I mean, first of all, the park was only at 30% occupancy. Okay, all of Disney was at 30% occupancy. So even though, now to answer Tristan's earlier question, how were the lines, blah blah blah. Well, the lines weren't bad, but you have to remember, with social distancing, like for example, what normally they would put 8 people in a row of seats, or 6 people in a row of seats, it might be 2, it might be 1, it might be 3. It depends on the size of your party. Okay, because they're not going to put 2 parties together in that environment. So the lines were shorter, but the length kind of evened out, because they're also running far fewer people. For example, Pirates of the Caribbean, the boat, they were only seating the front row and the back row. In a worst case scenario, if you've got a party of 1 and a party of 1, 2 people are in that entire boat. So yeah, you can see where it kind of came out in the wash. It still wasn't bad. It's still, the weights weren't bad or anything like it, but you get where I'm getting at, is that it's, yeah. But they had the 6 foot spacing everywhere. Every 50 feet, or maybe yards. I'd say yards. Every 50 yards, there was a hand sanitizing station. Every 50 yards. There were thousands of them throughout Disney. Thousands of them. Everywhere. Like, again, Disney has a thing about trash. One of the things that they do is, if you go to Disney, you'll see that, like, they did a study and they figured out that people are only willing to walk as far as 25 feet to throw garbage away. So there's literally a garbage can like every 25, 30 feet in Disney, because they want you, that's the space that people will feel. If not, they just drop it on the ground, or they'll put it casually off to the side and they'll let somebody else pick it up, whatever. So they literally put hand sanitizing stations everywhere. Getting on rides, there were multiple stations in line for the rides. Getting off the rides, there were multiple stations getting off each ride. Every store had 2 or 3 of them. And you know how much every restaurant had, the ones that were open, I should say, had all kinds of stuff. A lot of the food places were being done with the app, and you had to pre-order. Hi, Dory. And then, of course, there was signage everywhere, reminding everybody to keep your distance, safe distance, whatever. Masking was absolutely required in the park. absolutely required. And the difference in this case, or the difference here, both Universal and Disney had a masking policy, but it was clearly evident that at Disney, every single employee had the ability and the authority to confront someone that was violating the policy. Um, it was amazing. Um, oh, Hannah, that's interesting. Hello, Robin. Um, Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Um, you see people walking around like this, right, with their masks on, like, oh, honey, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, for some reason, if they can't hear, they're like, what did you say? And they pull their mask down. Like, what the hell does that got to do with you not hearing? But any employee, any employee from the groundskeeper picking up trash to a ride operator to a security guard to a vendor selling sodas has the authority to say, sir, I'm sorry, but you're not wearing the mask properly. You need to put your mask on correctly. Every person there. And throughout my entire duration at Disney, I watched employee after employee politely yet firmly confront people about the mask policy. And it was great. And it wasn't, hello, Sarah. And it wasn't something that you would see a lot. I mean, I would argue that I would say 95% of the people there absolutely followed the policy. Um, there was one um, in my entire stay there. There was one individual who absolutely, this is America and I can do what I want, blah blah blah, who failed to forget that he was on private property. And yeah, all it took was them threatening to remove his, to actually yank his reservation from the or yank his registration at the hotel, and that got him in line pretty quick. Um, yes, Stephanie, you are correct. Empowering people. So this trip ended up extremely beneficial for me. Um, and as a result, a few things have come about that that Float is absolutely going to be looking at. I will be. I mean, literally. I mean, we're looking at purchasing somewhere between 10 and 12 hand sanitizer stations based upon our square footage. I have to. It might even be more. We might end up having to purchase more of them. I'm thinking my original thought was 10. Now I'm looking at maybe 15 to 20. And these things are not inexpensive. Um, and so yeah, we're looking at that kind of an investment. Um, signage is a big thing. Signage is a big thing, and we're gonna. I mean, I've already ordered more stuff that we're gonna have as far as sign holders and easels and sandwich boards, the whole 9 yards, so that we have enough signage there to remind people about the proper thing to do. The floor decals and that kind of thing. I mean, we're one of the things that we realized, or that I realized, excuse me, is that when we line people up, um, you know, I mean, we're going to have to create lines at Float. We're going to have a no stopping zone, certain times of the day. Certain times of the day, they're not, you're going to have, I'm sorry, you got to keep this moving, and, and of course, every staff person at Float will have the right to implement, the rules as they exist. Now, again, let me keep in mind, let's see here. Okay, so Devora, every time one of my people pulled their mask down to take a picture, they were threatened with being ejected. That is a thing, and it's in the rules. It states every time you open the app, every time you open the app, every time you go in, it clearly states on there, you're not allowed to take your mask down for any reason at all for pictures. You are not allowed. I mean, it says that all over the park. You're not allowed to remove your mask for pictures. Now, with regard to food and beverages, you are allowed to remove your mask while ingesting food or liquid, but You cannot be mobile while you're doing it. You have to be standing off to the side. And I was one of those individuals at one point standing to the side and eating with my mask down. Employees looked right at me, they would smile, they would wave, whatever. And then I would see someone else walking and sitting there drinking a beer or eating ice cream or whatever, and they'd be like, "Folks, I'm sorry, you're going to have to stop." So, but what you have to understand about all of this is it boils down. It has to be about zero tolerance, because if you don't, if you create an environment where people can say, "Well, you let them do this, I can do it too," then in the era of a pandemic, you can't do it. Yeah, I will say, Devorah, what got you was the toddler, and I have to admit, I'm surprised that they would be about the toddler, because in most cases, the littlest ones, they didn't really seem to be too at least when I was there, they didn't seem too concerned about tiny ones. Um, yeah, so I'm kind of surprised about that, but I guess it just depends on what's actually happening at the time. But I don't know. But like I said, it really. Now, what's funny is that some of you are probably thinking, "Oh, he's going to lighten up on Float's COVID policy." No, no. In fact, I'm not. In fact, it's going to get worse. Um, but again, it's all dependent upon the fate of COVID. We're not. We're people seem to think that I'm enjoying this process. I'm not enjoying this process. Um, I get every day I get a question from somebody who gets angry at me with the answer. First of all, I cannot predict the future. Um, I have people that keep saying to me, "Well, are we going to have to wear a mask?" I don't know. I don't know yet. If you were to ask me right now, if you were to say to me right now, Blenda, I'll get you that in just a second. Um, um, I will. Do we have to wear masks? I don't know. If Float was held tomorrow, yep. If Float was held tomorrow, you can't have more than what, 10 people there? So yeah. But no, I mean, as of right now, yeah, we're gonna have to. I hope we don't have to. I swear to God, I hope we don't have to. But if we do, I've got a policy in place, and that's what's gonna have to be. And I think this is something that people need to understand. And I'm gonna repeat this probably every step chat between now and Float. I'm gonna repeat it in emails, and I'm gonna repeat it in posts and everything else. And I don't want to beat you to death with it, but I do need to make it very clear. Yes, this is America. This is a free country. In your home, on your property, you have the right to exist how you want to exist. But Float is not your house. At the end of the day, it's my house. Float is a private event. If Float creates a rule that says you have to do this or else you will be removed, then you have to do this or you will be removed. For every person who says to me, "You better not try to make me wear a mask," I have 10 people who are thanking me for putting in so much work on the COVID policy. I am well aware of the fact that there's conflicting data all the time. I am well aware of the fact that wearing a mask will by no means guarantee you that you will not get. Um, I guarantee, yeah, wearing a mask is not going to guarantee you not getting COVID. I get that too. Um, please remember that wearing a mask is not about you not catching it as much as it is you not giving it to somebody else. Okay, there's that. Um, the Flavia, what if there is no Float because it got so bad and was mandated by the state? What's the policy? Just curious. Hello, Christy Carpenter. Um, and it's okay that you're late. And Christy, I can confess to you now that we missed each other by like a day, because I was also at Walt Disney World. There you go. Okay. So Flavia, that was actually added to the COVID policy after the fact, because I realized that it wasn't part of the original COVID policy. It has been added. if float has to be postponed, it has to be postponed. If the state of Illinois or the federal government says, sorry, nobody can go to final phase right now because of the disease, then it has to be postponed. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. What I would ask is that people understand what's happening, and I hope you're patient. I hope you get it, but because the problem is that if it turns out the way the hotel works, just to let y'all know, if I were to postpone today, if I were to call the hotel today and say I have to postpone the convention another year, they're going to say to me, okay, you now have to pay X amount of money up front, but we'll give it to you, but you got to pay it now. Okay. And then you can apply it towards the new event. And the longer that you go, the closer that you go to the actual date, the higher that number gets. And at some point, if we're like in November, and I haven't postponed it, and then the state says, no, you can't have it, I'm probably on the hook for 100% of what I owe the hotel. I can't pay that money and have refund to every single person coming forward. That can't possibly happen. So we'll have, but again, let's worry about that when we get there. My suspicion is, and again, I understand, Christy, you're the second person to ask in 5 minutes, so I'm going to answer it a little bit later. So the answer is, hopefully we don't have to worry about it. If we do have to worry about it, then we'll address it. My opinion is, if you can afford to not request a refund, I would ask that you not. If you can't, if you absolutely have to have that money back, then yeah, we'll figure something out. We'll get it back to you. But just the way it is, it's a big deal. And again, what that ultimately means is, what most people don't realize is, it's me personally paying for, if we have to do all that, it means that I technically have to pay for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hotel rooms. That's a thing. Hello, Nancy, good to see you. So, again, I'm hoping that it's not an issue. I'm really hoping it's not an issue. From what the CDC is saying, from what Fauci's saying, obviously our new president has backtracked his timeline a little bit, which I had a feeling he would be doing anyway. Several months ago, right before the election, the medical experts were saying everybody should have the vaccine by spring, will be great. And now they're like, yeah, we screwed up on that one. It's probably going to be summer. And now, of course, they're saying, we probably screwed up on that. It's probably going to be fall. So I'm hoping that, and now experts are saying, well, by the end of 2021, everybody who wants to get vaccinated should be vaccinated. So we'll see. Each state, of course, operates differently. Illinois, for example, is much farther along than Washington State is. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, and Stephanie Marquardt, you can help me out with this, if I did my research correctly, Chicago, hey, Teresa, it's 6:37. Chicago is currently in phase 4 of a 5-phase system. Phase 5 is everything's back to normal. So right now, mind you, a lot has to happen to go from 4 to 5. So, but it sounds like Chicago is prepared to go to phase 5, I would say within the next 6 months. So if that happens, then there you go. Now, one of the frequent questions that I get a lot are, well, what if I don't feel comfortable coming to float? Can I cancel my registration? Of course you can. Absolutely, you can cancel your registration. You can cancel your registration for any reason at all or no reason at all. Okay? This is what I need to get people to understand. You could call me in December and say, Steve, I'm really worried about COVID. Um, uh, Wait, you may not actually be under Chicago's phase. Stacy, if the event is taking place in Chicago, in the Chicagoland area, the county that Chicago's in, how would I not? Unless there's a federal, unless if a federal phase comes into effect, then that's different, I guess. Um, um, anyway, God, I just lost it. You can cancel for any reason whatsoever. You can tell me, you know what, Steve, I'm not feeling good about this, and I'm going to have to cancel. That's fine. You can say to me, Steve, I don't like you. You smell. I don't want to come float. Okay, you can cancel. You can say, Steve, I need to cancel, and you can cancel. You don't have to give me a reason at all. You just got to do it by January 3rd of 2022. Okay. After January 3rd, I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm not trying to be anything. If you call me on January 4th, oh my God, I have COVID. I'm sorry. At that moment, on January 3rd, or January 4th, I should say, you are now, that's what I thought. Lombard is covered under Chicago jurisdiction. I mean, it's 20 minutes from downtown Chicago, so I can only assume it is. I think what Stacy might have meant is in the event that possibly there's a federal mandate by then, which, as we know, our current president is absolutely, I want to say, oriented in that possible direction. Full refund if I cancel? Okay, full refund? No, never said full refund. You are eligible for a partial refund. Okay, but the partial refund, you get all of your money back with the exception of $75. This is all on the registration page. It's all on the registration page. And it's on the page, the link that you use to sign up for Float. Okay, it's all there. You get all of your money back with the exception of a $75 cancellation fee and the money you pay to planetreg.com to register. Because I don't get it. That's never my money. That goes right to them, and I have nothing to do with that, okay? Now, if you signed up under the 75 for 75 plan last year, or if you're signing up now and you're paying in full, the cancellation fee is only $75. If you sign up under the payment plan now, the cancellation fee is $150. Plus the Planet Reg fee. Okay, why is that, you ask? Because payment plans are a pain in the butt. Steve, I heard you mention $350. Is that for returnees or newbies? Okay, it's never going to be for newbies. New people are never going to get a discount price like that. They got to earn their stripes to get that kind of a discount. The only people eligible for the 350 price point are those attendees who attended Float 2020. Okay? So, the bottom line is, if you came in 19, you're not eligible. If you came in 17, you're not eligible. I went to the very first float. Thank you. Really appreciate your support, but you're not eligible. You've got, it's a back-to-back thing. It's always been a back-to-back thing. This discount rate is always back-to-back. So if that helps you out, Stacy, that's how it works. The 350 price point is only for those individuals who attended Float 2020 and get registered before midnight Pacific time tonight. Okay? Again, we've been promoting this for months. Flavia, I think I paid $550 or so in 2019. Yeah, you probably did because you were probably late to the party. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, it's not fair to give brand new people a cheaper price than people who repeatedly support the event. That's how I see it, and I think a lot of you would agree with that in your own business. So there's that. Okay, I want to make sure that I'm not missing anybody's stuff. Okay, so Yeah, so there's that. We did. So there is one thing I want to share with everybody that I didn't talk about on Float Friday that I literally forgot to mention just in general. But there is something that I want to talk about very, very quickly in reference to the guest policy at Float. I need to start getting this out also. In the past, at Float conventions, minor children under the age of 13 are allowed to attend Float free of charge with their parent as long as they keep them under control and they can come to the classrooms with them as long as they're right there and they're under control and everything else. Until further notice, that policy is officially suspended for Float 2022. With COVID going on and the possibility of social distancing, we have to minimize the number of people in the space. When on Float Friday, we talked about in the COVID policy, we talked about guests were not going to be permitted at final night, at opening night, in the sculpture room, none of that. Didn't even think about the fact that people bring their kids. So, until further notice, the children at Float policy has been suspended for 2022. If you want to bring your child with you, you will have to buy them a register. Sorry, that's Skittles. She actually had a balloon in her thing and she just popped it. You absolutely must either pay for them to be a delegate at Float, or they're going to have to stay home or stay in the hotel room. Again, it's not. I've always tried to be accommodating to parents, and I absolutely do. But the reality is, with COVID this year, we can't do it. We just can't do it. If I can't tell somebody they can't bring their spouse, if I have to tell somebody they can't bring their spouse to final night and actually buy a ticket for them to come to final night, I can't tell you it's okay to bring your kid for free to all the classes. Can't do it. And I had an incident earlier today with somebody who bought a registration yesterday, who messaged me about I just signed up and I asked you an email. They sent me an email while I was on vacation and I was ignoring it, not just because I was trying to not engage, right? And so yeah, but I had I worked it out with them this morning. Everything's fine. We're good. All right, so I guess Stacy's saying there's a difference between Lombard's region and Chicago's region. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So what Stacy's saying, Stacy, I take it you live in Lombard, or you live very, very, very close to Lombard, I guess. So then there you go. Either way, I don't think Benita, I literally just covered this topic. No, you cannot buy tickets. No. Again, in the COVID policy right now, I'm sorry, I just literally just finished talking about this is all. But yes, you were shoveling snow, so I get it. You do live in Chicago. No, this year, as of right now, with the COVID policy in place, nobody can bring guests of any kind to Float. If Float is going to exist, we have to minimize the number of people that are there. So we won't be able to necessarily bring guests to final night. You can't bring guests to opening night. You can't have kids with you in the classrooms. We're not going to be able to do it right now as things exist. If we get closer to the event and it looks like everything's fine and the world is reopening great and everybody's good, then I'm more than happy to. The ballroom, if I understand it, the complete ballroom space at Float will hold, without a dance floor, 1,000 people dining. So yeah, we got the room. It's just, can we do it safely? So that's and that's okay. Your timing was just perfect. That's all, Benita. You're good. So there's that. I know a couple people are going to be really upset about the child policy. I'm sorry. I really am. I don't want this to sound insincere. I am truly sorry that this may affect you. But I've been saying this since the beginning of creating the COVID policy for Float. Every single person who attends Float is going to be unhappy with the decision I make. I'm sorry. but I'm also not sorry. Because at the end of the day, while you may be inconvenienced or you may be unhappy with the decision that's being made, you're not the one facing litigation if something goes wrong. You're not. I am. And as a result, I have to approach it from that perspective. At the same time, I genuinely care about the health and safety of people coming. Look, we don't call it the Float family just to be clever. You guys, in many ways, so many of you are absolutely, hello, Sarah. So many of you are absolutely my extended family. And I want to take care of it. I want to help people. I mean, I am well aware I could charge a lot more for Float than I do. I don't want to, because I want it to be as beneficial for all of you as it could possibly be. So I try to keep the price as low as I possibly can. So, yeah. So I also care about your safety. I care about, if you're going to be okay. And there's Mr. David Williams. Thank you, David. Appreciate that very much. Thank you. So, yeah, at the end of the day, it is an inconvenience, is what it boils down to. And I'm sorry. I truly am. But at the same time, I'm not. Because I have a bigger picture I have to look at. And that's how it goes. So, now, I will say this. There was also another wonderful benefit that came about from my vacation. Saturday morning, when I sent the email blast out to everybody in reference to the reminder about the reminder to everybody about the discount ending today in just over 5 hours. I was inundated with a wave of emails, and text messages, and Facebook messages, and the phone call or two that I didn't answer, from people asking me questions about the email that I had just sent. And the frustrating thing is, 95% of the communications that I received asking me questions about Float were answered in the email they were replying from. Stephen, I can't find the link to register. Stephen, what's the coupon code to register? Steve, I signed up for the 75 plan. Do I need to register again? All of this was in the email that they were specifically replying from. Christy, you didn't bother me. You didn't bother me. And I realized at that given moment that this is just going to get worse. And I was thinking back to the days of IBAC. And I remember thinking that the IBAC days had an office manager. They actually paid a full-time employee who worked 40 hours a week to do all of this. Answer phones, respond to emails, keep track of the competition entries, do all the admin stuff, the merchandising, all that stuff. It was hired to do that. Her name was Asli Hussein. And to this day, I wish I could find her. I can't. I'm trying to find her on social media somewhere. The last time I couldn't find her the last time I looked. I wanted to first of all, apologize to her for all the hell I must have put her through when I was an attendee at IVAC. And at the same time, I want to applaud what an amazing job she did. But it also occurred to me that her salary was ultimately paid by four millionaires, four balloon businesses that easily made over $1 million a year. So they could all easily afford to split it four ways and pay for her salary to do all the work they didn't want to do. And yeah, that's absolutely what I need. Um, I don't have that kind of money to pay somebody full time to do it. Float, because if I did, Float would have to double. I'd have to double what I'm charging everybody, right? But what I did come to the realization is that I could probably find someone that I could throw X amount of money out a month, who 2, maybe 3 days a week would address emails, right? Like people's emails, like literally all this stuff that I'm spending hours a day answering questions that are just the same questions over and over again from people that just haven't bothered to read. And so that's what I did. And so I announced some time ago on StepDad, actually, for Float Friday, I announced to everybody that my adult niece, Aphrodite Gonzalez, was going to be joining us on the Float staff this year as our safety czar at Float. Um, I'm also happy to announce that she is now taking on the role of office manager. So what's going to happen is now, instead of every email being sent to steve@floatconvention.com, we are going to have a new email address, like I can't read at floatconvention.com. No, I'm kidding. It'll probably be like help me or whatever at floatconvention.com, or info@floatconvention.com, or whatever. I haven't decided. I want it to be a little more clever than info. I was thinking, again, I really love the I can't read at floatconvention.com, but that really sends the wrong message, because there are some legitimate questions, obviously, that come in. And that does happen often enough. So I don't want to be a jerk about it. I'd like to sometimes, but that's not it. So basically, what's going to start happening? She's coming in for actual training on Wednesday, and then from that point forward, people sending me emails of stuff I don't need to be bothered with are going to be replied to. Please forward this to, help me at floatconvention.com or whatever it is. And that's what's going to happen. And then a couple days a week, she's just going to open up the emails and respond. Anything that she doesn't know, she's going to call me and ask, and that's it. You know, yeah, I felt, even in that moment alone, I felt like a weight had just been lifted off of me, and it was great. It gives me the ability to focus on the really, really important stuff afloat, which is like, the creativity things, the creative aspects that we're trying to come up with, the event management elements, all that other stuff. Orange at floatconvention.com. That's not a bad idea. I just worry that people will misspell orange, believe it or not. So yeah. So I'm Ask Philomena. No, it won't be Ask Philomena, and Philomena is spelled wrong. See, that's another thing. We can't make it too complicated because people misspell it. The Ask at floatconvention.com works pretty well too. I have to, yeah. So anyway, I'll look into all of this. Christy, you're going to feel so free. You'd be surprised. I probably won't, because what'll probably happen is I'll absorb some other new project as related to Float, and we'll go from there. So, I had all kinds of downtime, and then I started this 1 million bubbles thing, and then whatever, and just went on from there. And again, I came up, like, I have one of the great things about, like I said before, about Disney, is that I had so many moments of inspiration, and ideas that popped into my head, whether it's a merch idea, or whether it was a new creative idea, or a new, like, gimmicky name for something, or whatever, blah blah blah. And I I was on my phone. I would just keep making lists. I have this long list of all these ideas that popped into my head at Disney of things I want to try or at least research and look into. And so that's probably what will happen is that I will more than likely do that. Kendra, that's funny. Laura, the poor girl. Let's be kind to her. Yep. Keep in mind, Aphrodite is not as patient as I am. So yeah, I think what will happen is that she'll be very direct, and then suddenly Steve will be, Steve won't be the mean guy anymore. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. It's kind of a magical place. Yes, it is. Yeah, Christy, I mentioned this earlier. Like I said, I missed you. It was so funny when you were posting that you were going to Disney World, um, and that's why I was like that's why I asked you when were you going to be there. I didn't. And some of you, okay, and this is something else too. A lot of people are like, "Why were you so secretive where you were going? Why were you so secretive?" Um, I will allow me to explain. I went so like I mentioned earlier tonight, I went a couple years ago. I went to Disneyland in California, and on one of the days that I was there, I threw out the bat signal, and or I guess in there's the mouse signal. I threw it out and I said, "Hey guys, I'm going to go to Disney this day. If you want to come hang out, that'd be fun, right?" And um, a few people kept commercial break for the rise. I have to put turkey. Okay, um, so I so I and three or four people came and it was great. Lori Quadros was there, Ray was there, um, John Fraley was there, a couple other people were there. I can't think of the top of my head who they were, but yeah, several people came and we had a good day. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. But what happened was then later other people were like, well, "Why didn't you do anything with me?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" I invite. Well, I couldn't come that day. I'm sorry. I what do you expect me to do? Well, we could have gone and done this. We could have gone and done that. Well, that's great, but that's not why I came to California. I didn't, nothing personal. I didn't come to California to go to Hollywood, or I didn't go there to go to the Getty or whatever. I came to go to Disneyland. That's what I wanted to do. Um, again, remember, my divorce was literally, or not my divorce, my separation was literally hours old. I was being a little selfish. It was like, I went and checked into the $500 a night Disneyland hotel and just, it was like, yep, I'm 4 nights. Here we go. I'm staying right here. I went to the park every day. I bought the park hoppers and did whatever I wanted, ate whatever I wanted, enjoyed myself any way I wanted to, because it was, that in that moment I was going through stuff. So I was like, this is how I'm gonna do. And so, yeah, people were actually angry that I didn't do something with them when I was in California. I didn't want that this time. I did not want to feel obligated to have to spend time with anyone per se, um, because I wanted a break. I didn't. I know this sounds funny. As much as I enjoy what I do, as much as I enjoy balloons, as much as I enjoy float, as much as I enjoy the side projects and everything else, I didn't want to do that. Again, playing creatively with float is different than working on float. I love creating ideas and I love coming up with stuff, and whether it's 1 million bubbles, or whether it's delivering balloon buddies to grandparents in April of last year, or whatever. It's it's a thing, and I enjoy that degree of creativity. And so that to me is fun. That to me is enjoyable. I don't want to necessarily have to sit and talk work for hours on end while waiting in line for a ride. I didn't want to do that on this trip. I really didn't. And I was genuinely worried about. And again, and then you look at the other side of it too, where it's like, if I spend time with this person and not with this person, I went to unplug, and that's what I did. So, um, and yeah, And as much as I would have enjoyed visiting with some people or whatever, or how fun it would have been to have accidentally run into Christy at the park, um, like I said, I just, you know what, I'm good this time, just being me and just being there. And so it was good. So that's why I didn't tell anybody, and that's why I kept it pretty much quiet and everything else. So there you go. Okay, so I've got. I mean, did Philomena go with me? No, Philomena did not go. Philomena's been to Disney a couple times. I did not. Okay, so a couple people. Well, actually, Linda asked, but I'll wait a second here. But I do really quickly. I want to take just a couple minutes to go over. I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody since Float Friday. Um, so I do want to just recap a few things that we've talked about. All of the teachers that have been announced so far are in the Float group in one of my earlier posts. I am actually going to create a photo album and post them all there too, so you guys can see them all there. But we've got some amazing teachers so far, and that's just the beginning. As you all know, we have lots more people that are scheduled to teach. Um, I don't even know who they are yet, to be completely honest with you. Blenda, okay, you're back. Great, cool. Um, the Also, for the first time ever, Float is going to be offering virtual classes. With COVID-19, I don't know how we can. Again, I've already been contacted by several people. They're like, Steve, I'm really sorry. I just can't. I don't want. I can't. I can't go. I just feel like right now I can't go. Okay, so we actually, with technology and everything else going on now, Float is going to offer um, digital recordings of as many as 20 classes at the convention. And what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to buy um, a streaming package. If you don't go to Float, if you can't go to Float, you can purchase a streaming package of 10 classes for a set fee. Um, it's not every single class. Every single class will not be offered in this mix. Um, Master classes will not be offered. Bonus classes will not be offered. Workshops will not be offered. Um, and to be honest, probably the highest draw classes will not necessarily be offered. Because those should be benefits to those people in attendance. But obviously, we'll give as many classes as we possibly can. And then what will happen is when you sign up under that policy, starting a couple days after Float, you'll get the chance to stream all those classes. The 10 classes you choose, you'll get to stream them for an unlimited amount for probably a month. And then for those of you that are actually going to Float, you're going to get one up. You're going to be able to actually purchase the digital downloads as opposed to streaming options. So you're going to get the chance to actually be able to, you'll actually be able to purchase video recordings of the classes that are being presented. So like what you can do is you can then say, okay, well, guess what? I bought these 10 classes, so I don't have to actually go to those 10 classes. I could pick other classes to go to because I know that in a month, Steve's going to send me those classes on video, right? So there's that. And that we're looking, I mean, seriously, we're talking, I mean, look, I just said this earlier. I try to keep the prices as affordable as possible. Um, if you're already at Float and you're paying all this money to attend the event, we're talking like a $99 upgrade for that kind of a thing. So it's a thing. And yeah, so it's yeah, with COVID and everything, and like I said, a benefit of COVID is that technology has just advanced. So streaming technology has advanced tremendously. Um, we're not necessarily going to stream live during the class because, first of all, whatever you're dealing with time zones and the whole 9 yards. For some people, they could be wanting to watch this class at 3 a.m. their time. At the same time, if something happens, if something goes disastrously wrong with a recording, we can't stream it live in that capacity. Plus, you're also dependent upon like the hotel and everything else. And if we get a hard line, even what we've learned at the last hotel, even if we get a hard line into the streaming option, there's no guarantee that the hotel's service is going to continue. And if we get a break in the action, then the class is down. So this way, at least we can record all the classes and then put them on the streaming service, so that way everybody can have access to them. So think of it as like an upgrade, like you do your notebook, right? You can buy a digital notebook in a way and get the classes. This is something we're looking to do. The certification, the certified balloon professional program. I had to backtrack a little bit, unfortunately. I was completely unaware that there is already a master balloon professional program. I had no idea. Um, but apparently it's part of Sempertex, and it's down in South America. And apparently they're moving it up. So I guess apparently this year they were getting ready to launch it. And I'm like, oh God, I had no idea. And what's frustrating for me too is if I had just Googled it, I would have found it. Um, but I got very Amerocentric and was like, well, I've never heard of it, blah blah blah. If I had just Googled, there it was right there. So the committee is working on right now how we're going to handle that. Are we going to simply call ours something else, or are we going to simply create levels within the certification? You're a level 1, you're a level 2, you're a level 3. Um, I think we're leaning towards that level concept, but again, I've been out of it for a couple weeks here. Gabby Rivera, if you attend Float, could we purchase a better price virtual classes? Well, yeah, I think I just said that actually. Um, you could offer package deals for the classes for virtual attendees. I would buy. I'm sure there are others. Yeah, I mean, we are. I mean, so basically, all right. So let me go back to the virtual thing. Once again, how this works: the plan is to record up to 20 classes being offered at Float. Up to, I don't know how many it's going to actually be, but up to 20 classes. Um, as a virtual student, you'll be able to purchase basically the equivalent of one per class session, because that's all anybody can do. So for the cost of, say, I don't know, 250 or 275 or whatever, you can purchase streaming rights to 10 classes that you would pick from the list of available classes. You'd get a code for those classes. That's all you can get. Now we're also thinking about putting together a nice little, like a nice little gift set that we send you, because we still want you to have some kind of fun Float experience. You might get, I don't know, you might get one of the trucker hats, or you might get a T-shirt. Not one of the real. I mean, it would be a different T-shirt. As was very kindly pointed out by Debbie Levy on Float Friday, the shirts are actually a really good quality shirt. So I can't necessarily give away those shirts when we're pricing the streaming option so low. So it might be a different kind of shirt. But we're thinking about putting together some kind of little gift package to invite them to, and at the same time, if somebody were to sign up, let's say we start launching this in October or November, which is when we're talking about it, and then let's say the all clear comes through and everybody's like, oh great, guess what, herd immunity's starting to work, everything's fine, blah blah blah, COVID's been knocked down, the world's reopened, and they feel good about coming. They could turn around and take that money and then apply it towards a registration. I mean, I'd be fine with that too. So that's how it's going to work right now. Now, again, as a Float delegate, again, as I've said before, if you're already in attendance at Float, then what we would do is you would get the same 10 package option, but you would pay a fraction of the price because you're at Float. And number two, as opposed to streaming, you would get them as digital downloads. So you would be able to, you skip the whole streaming crap. You just, here's the link, download this class, here's the code you need for this class, here's the code you need for this class, download, 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 done. And they're yours. And we're even talking about the possibility of buying hard drives. Oh, I froze again. There I go. I'm back again. Sorry about that. We're even talking about the possibility of buying hard drives and sending you home with a hard drive. I don't know that we can do that. That's a lot of work that I would have to do. I'd be having to do all that editing and everything there at the convention, and I don't know that that's going to happen. In fact, I know it's not going to happen. But there's that. So I hope I've explained this to everybody how that's going to work. And then, of course, we talked about COVID. And we've talked about COVID tonight. So it basically, to answer everybody's question, I don't know what the policy is yet. The policy that's on the website is it's actually not the latest version. I need to get the latest version out there. I'll post a new updated version tomorrow. But keep in mind, that is the Float policy for an attendee. That is not the Float policy for staff. Float will have a much tougher policy. Okay. So there you go. Okay, I'm going to really quickly, I'm going to recap the really, really important bullet points that I talked about tonight. and then I'm going to talk about Rise of the Resistance. And I'm going to spend 2 minutes. Um, so first of all, once again, I want to give a huge round of applause to Teresa and Lisa, Teresa Harding and Lisa McIntyre for covering for me while I was on vacation. Thank you very much, ladies. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, tomorrow night is TMI with Teresa Harding, 5 o'clock Pacific time right here in the Float group. Tuesday night is Tuesdays with Tony, as always. Join us 5 o'clock Pacific time. And Wednesday night is Working Wonders. I heard last week's show was amazing. They had my attorney actually was a guest on the show. She is an attorney who specializes in event management. So yeah, she and I were talking about COVID waivers long before April of last year. Yeah, so that'll be Wednesday night, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So yeah, thank you again to Lisa and Teresa for covering for me. Today, you have under 5 hours now to get registered for Float 2022 at the returning price of $350 if you attended Float 2020. Don't forget. Also, today is the last day to enter the anagram design contest. Rules are on the Float website on the contest page information. Let's see here. We have made some tweaks to the COVID policy, which I will be updating again tomorrow. Until further notice, no guests of any kind will be permitted at Float 2022. This includes minor children whom in the past have been allowed to attend at no cost under the age of 13. If you want to bring your child to Float, you're going to have to either pay for them to be a registered delegate at this point, or you're going to have to wait it out and see if COVID plays along. Okay, that's a thing. I'm also happy to, when? Christy, I don't know when. What do you mean when? Okay, I'm very happy to share that Float has officially hired an office manager. My adult niece, Aphrodite Gonzalez, who will be attending Float as the safety guru, will also be now from this point for starting on Wednesday, will be assisting me with office managing duties with Float. So in the future, if you start messaging me things about questions that I've already answered 100 times, you're going to be sent to her. It's that simple. I got to keep my sanity in place. And then other than that, I think that's it. Don't forget Melissa Vincent's class is going, signups are going on now. Get your Float t-shirts. They come with free shipping. They're on the website. Both Melissa's class and the t-shirts are at the Orange Store. You said today. I'm just being stupid. Oh, funny. Okay, got it. Thank you. That's what it was. Rise of the Resistance. So for those of you that are unaware, and I'm going to spend about 4 minutes talking about this, and then we're going to go. So if you have any questions, get them in now. If you have any questions, get them in before I'm done here. For those of you that have no idea what I'm talking about, Rise of the Resistance is the newest ride at Disney, which is a Star Wars themed ride, which is a combination of super advanced technology as far as rides go. It's actually a computer programmed ride with no tracks. And it also is a combination of ride and personal interaction, where you actually not only get in a ride, you actually get in a ride, off a ride, interact with characters, and then get on another ride. My personal thing is all right. It wasn't as good as I'd hoped, to be completely honest with you. I enjoyed it, but part of what most people were blown away by was the interacting element, was the fact that you get on a ride and then all of a sudden you're taken off the ride and now you're like interacting with characters. I don't want to spoil it for people that don't know what's happening. But see, for me personally, probably a decade or more ago, in Las Vegas, they had this thing called the Star Trek experience. And the Star Trek experience was very, very similar to Rise of the Resistance. In the Star Trek experience, was it as good as Avatar? Blenda Berry. It's different. I'll have to explain that in a second. It's not the same at all. Um, the Star Trek experience, you actually go into this room and like they're going to take you on this tour of Star Trek stuff, right? Then all of a sudden there's this blinding light and you are literally now on the deck of the Enterprise. Like literally the walls have changed, everything's changed. This was a decade ago. So and we're all like, oh my God, what the hell? And what happens is you discover that the Borg have infiltrated the ship. And and literally like people are walking through and they're I mean, you're like crew members are walking by. And one of my favorite details, oh my God, it was one of the best details ever. You're standing there in talking to, you're seeing Jean-Luc Picard on the screen or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then like a door opens up and a crewman walks by on the outside in the hallway. Like these little details that you just don't think about were perfectly done. And what happens is you go through the ship and then unfortunately the Borg invades the ship. And like our tour guide, Lieutenant Johnson, was actually abducted by the Borg and hauled off. And so like then like if somebody else leads you to, God bless it, I froze again. There you go. And so then you're led to an escape pod, right? Like a shuttlecraft to get out of here. The shuttlecraft is the ride. Okay. Now keep in mind the technology back then wasn't nearly as good as it is now. So the shuttle ride was like the early days of Star Tours. It was still good, but it wasn't as good as Star Tours was. Um, so for me, that whole element of like so many people were shocked that they, because what happens, like I said, with Rise of the Resistance, you get on a ride. You don't necessarily realize that you're not going to stay on the ride. I kind of did. And so for me, even though it was still fun, it was all right. And then the problem is the second time I wrote it, it's not nearly as interesting. Now, what was interesting is that there are a couple small variations on the actual ride part, the second part of the ride, that are different every time you ride it, or at least they made a couple different versions so that you can experience different things. But it wasn't enough to say, oh, no, I love that the second time. So I did enjoy it. Um, yeah, Jackie, yeah, you got a little bit of time, and that's it. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I did enjoy it. I was just dampened by the fact that I had already experienced something like it. So it wasn't for me as nearly as like, oh my God, it was mind blowing as it was for so many other people. Um, Now, Belinda asks, is it better or is better than Avatar? Avatar is a very different ride. Avatar is basically you just sit in a thing and you got that massive circular screen that surrounds you, and it's, I will say the spectacle of Avatar was fantastic because I'd never ridden that before. And just the visual element was really fun. But at the end of the day, it's just you're riding and you're flying and you're this and that. So, yeah. How did you get to ride it twice? Christy, I got very fortunate. We bought the park pass for 2 days. The first day, the first morning, I didn't know the whole, like I knew the 7 a.m., but I didn't know how brutal it was. And I literally, if you were not in the first 10 seconds, as you probably know, you don't get on. But if you remember, if you're in the park at 1 o'clock and you try again and you get in, you can get in the second time after one or at one. So on the first day, I missed the 7 a.m., but I hit the 1 o'clock. So I specifically got to ride later that day. Then I had booked the park hopper for the second day, also at Hollywood, because I knew I was going to want to go back to the Star Wars more than once. So that gave me a second opportunity to book through the app. And then on Thursday morning at 7 a.m., I hit it and I was able to get on again. So yeah, I did that twice. It, like I said, it was fun, and it was, and the lines aren't bad for that. But I mean, it was, we waited, I waited longer for Millennium Falcon than I did for Rise of the Resistance. So yeah, it was good. Um, we're looking forward to going in February. Thank you. Great advice at the first 10 seconds. Oh, Blenda, I can't say that enough. I set my alarm for 6:55. And then once it hit 6:59, I just kept refreshing the app. The moment, because the problem is it'll turn 7, but your app won't refresh automatically. So the moment it turns 7, I'm refreshing, join, boom. That's how I got it. the first time I tried it, I wasn't doing that. And so when it turned 7 a.m., I expected my app to update. It didn't. And so when I realized it by like 7 a.m. and 30 seconds, oh yeah, I was long out of it by then. Long out of it. And keep in mind, I got in within the first 5 seconds at 7 a.m. on Thursday, and I was still in group 60 something. So 61 groups before me got in that 5 second interval that I did. It's crazy. It's literally like getting concert tickets. And then the reason they do it the way they do it is because, hey, it's 37 people watching. The reason why they do it the way they do it is because with the Park Hopper right now, at first they weren't letting you switch parks at all. You could only go to one park a day. Now with the Park Hopper, they're letting you, but you have to wait till after 2 o'clock. The number one reason why that is because of Rise of the Resistance. Because in Hollywood, at 1 o'clock, the people that didn't make it in at 7 get a second chance. So Blenda, what I did is I specifically got lunch at 12:30 at a restaurant where I could sit down at a table and eat. Set the alarm once again for 12:55 p.m. And then I set it again for 12:59 p.m. And then so that way I was comfortable. I was full. I was happy. I was everything. I was very comfortable and I was prepared. And then I just kept refreshing. Then 1 o'clock, boom, joined and got in. So it's a thing. So there's a plan of attack to. Oh yeah, Christy knows. Yeah, there's a plan of attack. And at one point, I really had, when I missed it the first time at 7 on the first day, I had to admit I had to resign myself that, wow, this is the one ride I wanted to come here for, that I really wanted to come for, and there's a chance I won't get on it. And they even tell you, just because you get a comeback time or a comeback code or whatever, the comeback group, that doesn't mean you're going to get on the ride. It really doesn't. Because if they had a situation, that delayed, if for some reason the ride was shut down or whatever, and now it's the park's closing, if you're at the tail end, you're not getting on. So Leah Beck actually has a question. Hello, Leah Beck. Oh, okay. Benita, good night. Good to see you. Do teachers from 2020 qualify as attendees? Yes, they do. And you should have gotten the email. Did you not get an email from me? You should have gotten an email. You should have been included in that list. If not, I will send you the information so that you can sign up. But yeah, you do qualify. Absolutely, you qualify. So yeah, when I get off the call, I'll forward you the email, but I'll forward you my copy so you can. But yeah, yeah. Other than that, there you go. God, I rambled around 90 minutes worth of rambling tonight. There you go. So if there are no more questions, then on that note, I'm going to let you all go. I appreciate you guys listening to me go on and on and on about my trip and other stuff. But like I said, I think I got to tell you, I realized this morning when I got back, did I really have the money to go? Money's tight right now, for everybody. Should I have spent that money? It can be argued no. But I'll tell you right now, I needed that break. Mentally, physically, psychologically, I needed that break badly. And for 2 months, I had something to look forward to, which I had not had in months and months and months through COVID. I now had something to really look forward to. I went, I enjoyed myself, I had a good time. I didn't kill myself. I didn't do too much. I was careful. I was responsible. At least I hope I was. The jury's still out. Who knows what's going to happen in 2 weeks, but hopefully it was fine. And I was ready to come home when it was over. And when I got home, I felt good. And that's what a vacation is supposed to be. And so in that regard, I truly, truly succeeded. So thank you all for listening. On that note, don't forget tomorrow night, TMI with Teresa Harding. Also, don't forget that you have 4.5 hours left for the float returning discount. Check one of the 3 emails you were sent in the last 2 weeks. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.